we interrupt this program to bring you...
Made the beat.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In my last video I talked about the 2010s IG baddie aesthetic and broke down some common trends associated with the style. But what I didn't mention was a full-on style and subculture that was popular around the same time, which was the movement of swag. Swag is an iconic aesthetic, and seeing as the style has been regaining popularity on TikTok and Instagram, I'd like to do a small breakdown of swag, exploring its origins and going over some common elements associated with the style. Swag is a style born from hip-hop culture. While the term swagger was coined by Shakespeare meaning to strut in an insolent or defiant manner, the modern usage of the term in hip-hop culture is accredited to Jay-Z. Jay-Z used a shortened version of the word swagger, changing it to just swag in 2003 on songs like Public Service Announcement. The term spiked in popularity in 2007, mainly due to Soulja Boy with songs like Turn My Swag On and Pretty Boy Swag. After this, swag became commonly used in hip-hop songs in reference to being stylish, fresh, and confident. Swag also found lots of popularity amongst the MySpace dance scene, with groups like New Boys being early pioneers of the style. 2009 was the defining year for swag, with songs like Swag Surfin', Teach Me How to Dougie, and You're a Jerk adding to the craze. It was also around this time that the style of swag started to shift. While swagger was initially just a term used to describe being clean, and it was still used in that way, it started to be associated with specific clothing, like skinny jeans, snapbacks, Jordans, and etc. The subculture of swag was also starting to gain traction on Tumblr. In the early 2010s, the style became even more defined by artists like Tyga and Wiz Khalifa, and these were the peak years of the swag era. Pivotal albums from this era were Cushion OJ, Rollin' Papers, Take Care, and more. I don't think it's crazy to assume that this style of dress will have a resurgence as we inch closer to the 2030s, especially considering the growing interest with the swag era amongst Gen Zers on TikTok and other social media platforms. And I think it's essential that as these styles regain popularity, we establish their origins to prohibit any type of cultural erasure. I personally feel like the swag era had three major phases. Phase 1 from 2008 to 2010. Probably the brightest era of swag. This is where most early adopters of the style started dressing like this. Phase 2, from 2011 to 2013, definitely the peak years for swag when it was the most popular. And Phase 3, from 2014 to 2015, what I like to call the last leg. This is when swag slowly started to die down as fashion became a bit more casual. The swag movement was definitely one of a kind, so since we've had a small history lesson on it, let's break down some iconic components of the style. Skinny jeans. One of the biggest fashion shifts in the early 2010s was the switch from straight leg jeans to skinny jeans. Skinny jeans became really popular in the late 2000s, especially in the jerk dance scene, and a lot of people credit the rise of this trend to the New Boys, who were some of the first rappers to make the switch from baggy jeans to skinny jeans. Whether they were stonewashed, khaki, or checkered, skinny jeans were essential. Graphic tees. The early 2010s were a really fun era for fashion, and everyone was wearing graphic tees. Brands like Truck Fit, Obey, and Supreme were the go-to, and Cookie Monster shirts as well as YMCMB t-shirts were staples for the time. Sneakers. If one thing was absolutely necessary in this era, it was a fresh pair of sneakers. DC sneakers, Jordans, and Vans were the must-haves of the swag era. The early 2010s were all about having fun, so a bright, colorful shoe to accentuate your outfit was crucial. Some of the most popular shoes to have were LeBron 8 South Beaches, Jordan 4s, 7s, OG Red 11s, and the Vans Red Canvas sneaker. Women also wore wedge sneakers a lot. Snapbacks and beanies. Probably the most important garments from this era, everyone was wearing snapbacks and beanies. Fashion in the early 2010s was heavily influenced by the 80s, so it's no surprise that these head garments made a huge comeback. People loved their Obey hats, Chicago Bulls caps, and YMCMB snapbacks. While fitted caps have always been a popular staple in the hip-hop community, during this time they weren't optional. Everyone was wearing them all the time. Gold chains. Everybody during this era had some type of gold chain, which again makes sense because swag is birthed from hip-hop. And gold chains have always been a major status symbol in hip-hop. Whether it was a simple herringbone necklace or a flashy cable chain, everyone was wearing them. Guys also heavily gravitated to wooden beaded necklaces for some reason. Letterman and jean jackets. Letterman jackets have always been associated with popularity and status, and since the swag movement was all about being cool, it made sense that most people wore the garment as a symbol of freshness. Jean jackets and denim vests were also super popular, and you got bonus points if you had an Obey t-shirt underneath. Nerd glasses and bow ties. Nerd glasses were yet another staple of the swag era that almost everyone had. It's weird, while Letterman jackets have always been associated with popularity, thick glasses and bow ties have traditionally been associated with nerds, and while the styles seem to contradict on paper, they weirdly went well together. While the bow ties were a more short-lived fad, everyone had nerd glasses, and they didn't go away for a while. Another trend that took inspiration from traditional nerd attire was jean shorts and tube socks. One of my personal favorite combos from this era, girls loved wearing jean shorts with tube socks that sometimes went all the way past the knee. It reminds me of when women in the 70s would wear hot pants with go-go boots that came up to their knees. If there was one style I'd bring back, it would easily be this one. But that's just me. Flannel. Another trend from the late 80s and early 90s that made a comeback in the 2010s was tying a shirt around the waist, specifically red flannel. You could have the simplest outfit and a flannel around the waist for some reason just made it pop. Jersey shirts. Toward the mid-2010s, around 2014-ish, a lot of fashion started to take inspiration from sportswear. Red baseball jerseys and Chicago Bulls shirts were really common pieces to see, and lots of girls wore oversized jerseys as dresses. I can't go into detail about every trend because there are so many, so I'm just going to do the next few in rapid-fire succession. Domo merchandise. Studded belts. Beats headphones. Joggers and crop tops. Timberlands and ripped jeans. Undercuts. And high-contrast photos. What do you guys think? Will we see new renditions of some of these trends in the next few years? Do you think it'll be a short-lived micro-trend? Or was it just a phase? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and until next time, goodbye.